Hey, me, Callie Carroll. Good morning, sunshine.
Morning, sunshine. Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning, sunshines. Daily dose of perspective. Good morning, sweet baby sunshines.
Good morning, sunshines. Let's get started.
Have you ever had one of those moments where you lost your shit on your kids? Who has kids? Like, if you have kids, like, do you have kids? I have 4 children. I have a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And sometimes, like, I do really well at controlling my emotions and my being. And there's sometimes where I'm like, what freaking demon just took over? Like, how did I go from being such a patient and loving parent with so much perspective and, like, just like, oh, you know what? Like, but is this so bad? To, like, losing my ever loving shit over whining. And that's like the number one thing for me. It's not like instances or I spilt a gallon of milk or I broke something, like something. Usually for me, like, my biggest trigger is when there's just like whining over nothing, over something. I don't know. Like, there's just like something about that sound, like maybe a touch of the misophonia. I'm like, ugh, like, I just, it's hard for me. And I did that recently. Not proud of it at all. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about, if that happens to you, what we can do about it and how we can prevent that from possibly happening as often or if ever. So first thing, just like so you guys know, totally human over here. You're the one talking about perspective and parenting, and you're the one that loses your shit. Yes, because I'm human. I don't know, maybe like let's just blame it on the moon. It's fully me, but like right, like there's just like this crazy energy, and all of us were just like uptight, and we work one another up to the each one of us having a family of 6, and then my parents live on the property, so there's 8 of us, and it's just all over a little bit. Okay, maybe that was too much guts, but my son is just like whining over I don't even remember what, my 5-year-old. And I don't know if part of it was because I had some, like, another parent adult with me, and I was like maybe trying to parent according to what they would do. And I was really afterwards, because that's something else we should talk about later on. I was really afterwards trying to spend some time with that, and I don't think it was really just that visceral reaction of like, stop your freaking whining. So we get to a place, this person jumps out of the car, and I just, like, I get out of the car, I slam my door, I go into the back seat of my car where my son is, and I am in his face, just like, stop whining, in the most demonic voice ever. Like, my kid is being he's emotionally dysregulated. He has something going on internally that's stirring, and my reaction is to bring even a more emotionally dysregulated being into his direct space, get in his face, and be like, no, stop that. That's not exactly how it sounded, but that's just gonna be my reenactment for right now. And I'm thinking this is gonna support the situation. Do you think that supported the situation at all? Matching somebody else's, especially your child who does not know necessarily how to emotionally regulate. And if we need to talk about emotional regulation, maybe we have a full daily dose about that. That's a good idea. But it's like how you feel, right? How you bring your emotions and you cope with your emotions, not just push them down, but how you cope with them in a healthy way. And instead of helping and supporting him to do that, I get in his face, I meet his level of frustration and aggravation, and then both of us are a freaking disaster. And then what's even worse, now he's scared of me because I'm so right in his face, and I feel like the biggest dick in the world, and I'm like, oh, what do I do? Why are you yelling my baby like that, right? And I'm beating myself up about it, and I had to have a talk with myself after this. I do this a lot, where it's like, Cal, what are we doing here? Is that how we meet our child when they have something going on? I'm a 44-year-old woman. He's a 5-year-old kid who only has so much experience. Is that the right way to meet it? So these are the different things that I came up with, right? Number one, acknowledging that when something's going on, we have to regulate ourselves first. And my baby, my 3-year-old, always does. It's from a show. He's like, Mom, when you're feeling mad and you want to roar, take a deep breath and count to 4. I needed to do that first, but I didn't. I needed to stabilize my own emotions first. The second thing is, like, really acknowledging is, can I just let him process that? If they're being in a store, if they're throwing a tantrum, if they're in this whiny mood, should I just let him ride that out until he's emotionally exhausted from that? That would have been a much better idea. Take a deep breath. I could have put on some music. I could have walked away and just let him be, right? Instead of acting in that way. So, first regulating myself and then really addressing, is this something that's going to hurt him, that's going to hurt someone else? Do I need to interfere right now, or do I need to let him process it? And if I'm in an emotional state enough where I've been able to really support myself, where I'm really calm, could I go back and just hug him and calm him with my own being? Because that's a possibility. I really experienced this with my son's chemo hangover, Witten's, where when he could not regulate himself, he would scream for hours. He didn't even know why, but his system was so jacked up from all the chemo and things he'd been through, that if I just calmed down and I held him, whether that was for 5 minutes or for an hour and a half, because sometimes it was an hour and a half, I could bring his system back to a normal state. So if you ever experience this, those are a couple different tips. Number one, you're human, but let's like not try to make that the standard. In fact, let's see if we can remove that from our way of being, you and I included. Number two, when you do find yourself getting upworked about how your kids are behaving, like notice, are you reacting because you're worried about what other people are going to think, or really is it about what you are, what you want to demonstrate in your parenting and teach your children? Don't worry about what other people are saying. That's a full nother talk. But is it about you and them, right? Number three, regulate yourself. Take a deep breath. Count to 4. Step away if you need to, right? Regulate yourself before you have the reaction. It's not just the immediate scream. That's not supporting anything, right? Number 4, are we on number 4? I don't know. Address, as somebody being injured, do you need to interfere and interact, or can you just let them process and go through? And the final one, number 5, would be is like, are you emotionally stable enough that you could go and you can actually stabilize them with your calmness so that you can get to the next piece? So that's my story about losing my shit. I hope that helps. Daily dose of perspective here with Callie Carroll. Remember that perspective reveals miracles. And I love you guys from a calm and loving space right here. Okay, bye.
Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe and, of course, share with your friends. Guys, that's how we impact more lives. All right, see you next time.